All right. Welcome back. Episode 2. Something like that, at least.
Yeah. It's going to feel more like a episode 1 based on the introduction that we're going to do.
Yes.
Right?
And these new mic stands.
Yeah.
Thank you to you, Corey.
I got you, bro. Don't worry. Making us look more professional already.
Perfect. If you want to start.
Oh, man. So, obviously, like he said, welcome back to episode 2 of our podcast here. It's Brews in the basement. But I'm sure you know that because you obviously already clicked on it. So,
And if you watched episode 1, you might be confused and think, wow, it said Bros Beers in the basement in the first episode.
it sure did.
And that was my fault. Because was not thinking when I put that together. So that is not our name, but it will forever live as our name in the first episode.
In episode 1. We're going to have many callbacks to that.
That's so funny. And we just tried to start recording earlier, and we didn't even have the mics on. So this has been a banner start.
It's been a banner start. That's why you have to check everything before you hit record for sure. And of course, because I recorded a video yesterday and I used the quadcast mics or the quadcast mic, I had removed these, which is why they were not, active.
So good thing we only spent about 90 seconds.
Yeah. Really didn't miss much. We were talking about the maybe we'll do it again later, but we were talking about how you crack open the can and you can have it self-pour into the cup for you.
The TikTok that it seems like everyone have seen.
Yep.
I'm going to try that
life hacks right there.
Absolutely.
Quality life hacks. But yeah, so this is going to be more like an intro. Episode 1, we kind of just wanted to get our feet wet and not really have to worry about, talking about ourselves too much. We wanted to just talk about sports and whatever we felt like doing. So that's what we did. But we thought maybe, we're going to have to give you guys an intro to who we are and, why we started the podcast and what it's going to be about. So, I mean, it seemed like let's do it for episode 2, right? Let's really confuse everybody about the order of things. We're really Tarantinoing this bitch. But anyways, my name is Corey. This is technically my basement. But yeah, I have me and Steve created the Basement Universe channel, which is what this is being uploaded on currently. We had talked about that for a long time, wanting to start a YouTube channel. So we just, we finally pulled the trigger after many years and created a music react channel. But we've slowly been expanding. I post gaming videos on there. I post movie reviews, various things really. And then we thought, why not start a podcast? And it's something we always wanted to do, and we've talked about it a little bit here and there throughout the years, I believe, in our group of friends. So I mean, we kind of said it in the first episode, but it's like, why not just share our opinions on the things that we love that we think you guys would probably love too, which is like, movies, games, shows, sports, what's going on in the world, TikTok trends, like pretty much you name it, just like anybody else, just sharing our opinions on the matter. I'm trying to think, where do I go from here? I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I'm at a meeting getting to know all these people. I'm like standing up in front of the classroom that I had such fears as a kid. I'm going to take another swig. Liquid courage.
It's a beautiful thing.
I don't really know what else to say. I mean, I'm a pretty heavy gamer. I really like horror. Horror is like probably one of my biggest things. I love horror films, love playing horror games. So most of the stuff that I post, as far as like movie reviews and stuff like that, if I'm doing it by myself, it's predominantly all going to be horror. The Thing is probably like my favorite horror movie of all time. Oh God, I don't even know what like TV show I would choose if I had to pick one, but we'll save that for like really specific episodes. But anyways, my occupation, I'm a certified nursing assistant. So, when I'm not here doing the podcast with Dylan for you guys, I'm helping old people out in the nursing home, wiping butts and whatnot, So, I don't want to say saving lives, but maybe potentially at some point. More like just helping people live their lives at a good quality level, Trying to think what else I can add in, but right now I feel like that's all I got off rip.
All right.
Yeah.
That was a lot.
It felt like a lot. It felt like I just word vomited.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure I'm gonna talk that long. Obviously, my name's Dylan. Yeah, we've definitely spoken about a podcast numerous times amongst our friends, and basically, we all tend to hang out, and when we have a couple beers, go down rabbit holes.
Yeah.
And we just said to ourselves, why not record it? Because everyone would love to hear our opinions.
Yeah.
That's
Most definitely.
I'm a paramedic. We're both in healthcare. I imagine we'll have a couple of healthcare related topics because I can go on and complain about it for a pretty extensive
Period of
length
time.
of time, just
Yeah.
because there's a lot of issues with healthcare. But yeah, being a paramedic, I can say there are people walking this earth because of me. That's pretty cool. But it's also a job that has extreme lows.
Yeah.
You
no
know,
doubt.
so you can't get too high or too low. You got to stay even, basically. Me, I used to only be comedy movie guy, right? That's all I liked watching. And then I met my wife, who, as you know, loves horror films and doesn't really care for comedies. So I've since gotten into, well, you know, I've had the last decade since I've known her.
She eased him into it.
She did. We watched this, like the first night we hung out, we watched this awful movie called P2, and it's so bad. It's just a bad movie. And what is that other movie with Paul Walker where they're talking
Joyride.
Joyride. Yeah. They're talking to, what, they say their name's Candy Cane,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Also a pretty bad movie.
I love how bad those movies are, though.
But so I watch a lot of horror movies. I will say I only go to movie theaters for horror movies, though.
That's true. Yeah.
I won't. I don't really go to movie theaters for comedies because, to me, no point.
Yeah, you can wait for that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, I don't know that I have a favorite movie. You said The Thing.
Yeah, as far as horror goes, I mean, we could spend a whole episode like doing all that stuff on specific genres, but that was just like, I just word vomited out.
Yeah, I don't game as much as Corey does. I do, but
you do a decent amount of sports games.
Yeah, the sports games are just so easy to throw on. Like when you have some time to kill, but not enough time to play a game.
Yeah.
They're just easy to throw on. The last big game, the two games that I played were God of War, which I beat and was amazing.
I still have to play those.
And fuck, what's the zombie game on Xbox that we all have?
Oh, Dying Light.
Dying Light.
Yeah.
Also very good game. I've beaten that 3 times now. It's a great game. Great game.
I have to go back and rebeat it. I beat it just the once, and then I just kind of stopped. But there's a ton of DLC for it now.
Yeah. God of War. So what I usually like to do for these bigger games is, the first time I play them through, I like to just play the main story, right? Because I want to play the story. I want to know how it goes and all that. And then I usually play it through a second time, and that's when I do all the side quests and really spend a lot of time because I already know the story. I know how it's going to end.
Yeah.
So now I can just take my time and play the side quests, especially in God of War, where some of these side quests, the people you fight are so strong and you're just going to die repeatedly.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is a side quest and I'm spending 2 hours trying to kill this fucking Valkyrie that just keeps killing me over and over and over again.
And you can get lost so easily doing all side quests.
Right. So, yeah. Yeah, I like to golf. I'm not good at it, but I like to golf and drink beer with my friends. Common theme here. Common theme. and have a couple cigars on the course. That's definitely something that interests me. But yeah, that's probably it.
Yeah.
That's all I got. Yeah, so that's who we are.
Yeah. In a nutshell, I mean, you'll get to know us as time goes on. Our preferences, our likes. But yeah, that's pretty much like the basic introduction. So I mean, I feel like it's good enough for me. I'm sure it's good enough for you guys.
Yeah. But that's us. We decided to do this podcast to have some fun. And if it actually turns into something, then that's great. But if it doesn't, that's also great.
Yeah, and it's also like you kind of said before. It's like, how many times have we had conversations that we thought were like absolutely fucking hilarious, and been like,
Yes.
you know what I mean? I feel like we've had. I'm sure you guys even have had plenty of those moments where you're like, man, I wish I got that on video, or like, I wish I could have shared that somehow. But
And as we have friends on here, that will spur more conversations.
oh yeah, I
And
can't
as
wait to hear you and Steve duke it out on the podcast.
well, it'll come. It'll come. He'll say something, and I'll just disagree. Just
Or for
out of
for
nature.
Eric to say something that'll rile up the audience.
Everyone.
Yeah, everyone.
Everyone.
Probably us
too. That's what Eric does.
He's good at it.
But yeah, so that's us. Thank you for listening. And what's going on here? We do live in New York. If you haven't figured that out yet, based on our beer of the week last week.
Yeah.
And there have been wildfires in Quebec it's been a few weeks.
Yeah, it's like all over Canada, right? It's like not even just Quebec, right? Isn't it like
They're
Alberta?
having a
and-
few. Yeah. It's been going on for a few weeks. I was watching the news. Apparently, they've already burned 12 times the amount of like land and shit this
Jeez.
year than they usually do.
That's crazy.
Because it's like 98 degrees in some of these places, and there's
Jesus.
no humidity, so everything's really dry.
Yeah, which does not help, obviously.
And the weather has pulled a lot of that smoke down to Long Island, which is where we're at, and we've been under an air quality alert for like the last 4 days or something.
Yeah, and probably, I mean, at least from what I heard, I haven't really done too much research about any of this, but from what I hear, they say it could be like a commonly occurring thing now going forward, like for New York and
Really?
really the East Coast. Yeah, I mean, based on some of the weather patterns and like future predictions and stuff like that. Like obviously, maybe not consistently like right now, but like moving forward, it could be like something that we should expect to happen, again at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we haven't gotten a lot of rain this year, and last year we didn't get a lot of
we
rain, and we got no snow in the winter.
Yeah, we
We had a really warm winter. I think it snowed twice, which is wild. Usually,
the weather's
there you go.
definitely
Hit
been
that already.
strange.
Usually,
Nailed it.
yeah. Oh, I definitely nailed it.
Literally.
Usually we get a decent amount of snow. Not a lot like.
Yeah, we've maybe
not
had
like,
what,
a lot
like
like Buffalo.
two like decent snows, but
we
like nothing.
we had two snow. We didn't get any snow until the end of January, which is wild. And when it did snow, it was like a dusting.
Yeah, like it melted. It was literally
It melted,
the next day. Yeah.
So we haven't gotten a lot of rain. So that would make sense that excuse me.
all that.
That would make sense that everything's really dry. And then if it's 100 degrees, that's why the wildfires are roaring. And I'll tell you, out on the golf course yesterday, like I said, that's one of my hobbies, with Steve, I have my sunglasses on because my eyes are always really dry. But when I would take the sunglasses off, like you could see the orange haze just like cast it over. And
that is not the smell of napalm in the morning.
No. Good reference. Great movie, by the way.
Yeah, great movie.
No, and it honestly, if you've ever been to a house fire, like if you're as a paramedic, I've been on a lot of house fires. It smelled like a house fire, minus the plastic chemicals.
Yeah.
It smelled like a house fire outside with this orangey overcast. And I even saw a time-lapse video of this
For
the skyline
for
for the
New
city.
York, right? Yeah, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I saw it briefly.
It was from 11 a.m. to I think 2 p.m. And it went from being what looked like a regular overcast day to orange. You couldn't even see
It's crazy.
you couldn't even see the buildings anymore. It was wild.
Yeah, when I saw that, the first thing that came to my mind. Well, actually, there was two things. Both one of them being a movie, which was it seemed like a scene right out of Blade Runner 2049. Because that's like at least in one of the scenes when he's looking for Harrison Ford's character, he's just like driving into like a foggy, like sandstormy looking city, and that's
Right.
really what it looked like. And in Fallout as well, they have like radiation storms and stuff like that happen in the game, and I was just like, man, this reminds me of that too.
It reminded me of whatever Olympics was just recently in China. And they all talked about how bad the air was there. And they were showing all those pictures of what Beijing looked like and how polluted and, hazy the sky was. It looked like that. It looked like that.
It's crazy.
The air. So the air quality
Is that
is.
what LA looks like every morning? I mean, minus the orange, that like smog that rolls in.
I don't know. But the air quality in the north, thankfully, it's getting better.
Yeah.
But
Yesterday
it's still,
was brutal, though.
It's still not good.
So, like, you said, you were on the golf course, and I had actually, of course, like, probably the worst thing that you could possibly do yesterday was go out for a run.
Yeah.
And that is what I did. Now, granted, I had like stepped out, and it looked like it started looming, like you could tell like something was coming, but I didn't have like that smell to it yet. And of course, maybe like not even 2 blocks up, it was it just hit me full force, and I only wanted to run a mile, but it was
Did you get the mile in?
I got the mile in, and
Okay.
I was like trying to hit like a fast time because like I've definitely gotten out of shape over the past year or so of not running, not doing anything really. So I ran a couple times this year, and both like I think 2 times before this, and they were both like 10 minutes, 11 minutes. I ran like once when it was like almost 90 degrees, and that was like almost 12 minutes because I just couldn't run fast. I was like, I just want to survive.
Yeah.
But this time I ran it in like 9:30. So I was like, I got under 10 minutes. I was like, that's my best time. I don't know how much damage I did to my lungs and everything, but
Yeah, well, I had 2 cigars yesterday.
just crushing
Wow.
the lung capacity.
Oh, good decisions. But it's because my sister and my brother-in-law are moving. And this was the last time we were going to get out on the course and, had to get the day in because they're moving basically like next week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's the last hurrah.
Yeah.
That's cool, though.
I mean, only up to Albany, but still. It's
yeah,
like,
I mean, it's way further away
Exactly.
than, yeah,
So, yeah, air quality be damned.
Yeah.
But it's still an issue. So if you have lung problems, please stay inside. You don't want to have to see either of us
No.
when we're at work.
Yeah.
'Cause that means something's gone wrong.
You'll probably, I was gonna say, back in the day, you would have saw Dylan first, and then if things went really poorly, eventually me.
Well, there was one time I showed up for one of your residents.
You
Do you
did.
remember seeing me?
Yeah, I do remember.
I remember
that.
seeing you and being like, "Oh, Corey,
Yeah, what's good?"
What's up? I'm here for your guy, I guess."
Yep, and I've seen John Menard there a couple times as well.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
EMS is such a small community.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is our beer of the week. We're going to put that right there. Oh, no, we won't. Never mind. We'll put that right there.
Don't worry, I'm going to zoom in on it anyway. It doesn't matter.
It's called the Barn Rocker. It's by Oyster Bay Brewing Company. That's another brewing company that's on Long Island. If you're not into hockey or care about hockey, the Barn is the Nassau Coliseum, which is where the Islanders played.
Mm-hmm.
They're now in UBS Arena, which is It's in Queens, but they gave it a Nassau County address.
Yeah.
But it's in Queens.
Yeah.
But this is our beer of the week, the Barn Rocker by Oyster Bay. What do you think of it?
I mean, I like it. It's pretty light. I feel like it's pretty easy to drink. It doesn't really sit very heavy or have like a very bitter taste or anything like that. I mean, I'd buy this regularly.
Agreed.
Not sponsored, by the way. Not sponsored.
No.
These are all just things that we feel like trying.
Honestly, the beer of the week started by us saying we would try beers that we haven't had before and just say what we like about them. Last week, poorly planned, which is why I had to go to 7-Eleven on the way here, and that's how we got the Wave Chaser. This week, I thought about it, and I went out this morning.
Nice. You're really ready.
In the better air quality.
Yeah.
However, still not good. But out of 1 to 10.
Ooh, that's tough. Man. I mean, this is only the second beer, but if I'm doing it in the grand scheme of things,
grand scheme, like, I don't even know what your favorite beer is, if you even have one.
I don't know if I have one really. I mean, my go-to, like when we're at like a party or something, will be probably like Sam Adams. That's like, even when we go out, like I'll usually get a Sam Adams, and not only because of the fact that it gets the taste of weed and hooker spit out of your mouth. Family Guy, I love you. But yeah, I mean, I want maybe like a 6.
Okay.
I feel like that's a modest and average, like, I would say like a 5 or a 6.
Okay. So what's interesting is I usually don't like sessions, and I got this mainly because it was hockey related and a Long Island beer. But I was not expecting to like it. I do like it. Would I drink it regularly? Probably not. I like everyone else, I like IPAs a lot. I usually go with a variety pack of IPAs, one of the many that exist.
Yeah, I mean, that's usually our go-to, right? Like Voodoo Ranger.
Or Neon Beer, which is a big thing I'm into right now.
Nice.
But I would say, I was going to say 6.5. So we're on the same page.
We're on, yeah.
Plus, anytime I can support local, I like to buy local.
Hell yeah.
I've actually been to Oyster Bay Brewing.
Oh, nice.
I've been there. I think I have a couple of glasses from there, too.
Nice.
But yeah, I would say 6.5. So we're kind of on the same page-ish, 5 to 6.5. But definitely a solid beer. And I would drink it again, but probably not drink regularly.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel you. Yeah, like I wouldn't mind it, but I'm not going to go out of my way probably to get it either, But yeah. So that concludes our beer of the week.
Beer of the week. Crush this again. That's wonderful.
It's going to happen at least once an episode. I know it's kind
That's
of
the one thing. I got to get used to it, you know?
Yeah.
It is the downside of this, but at the same time, like, I like it better than the stand.
Yeah, because now we could just,
What a massive fail that was. But it's okay.
That's all right. Makes for,
I'll have to,
quality.
Tone it down. Beer of the week.
So, I mean, we hit on really the major things that we definitely wanted to hammer out right away in the podcast here. So, I mean, now it's just free range for the rest.
Yeah. So, I was right. Kind of. I thought the Heat had a chance to take a game in Denver. I thought it was going to be game 1.
Yeah.
It was game 2. And honestly, game 1, they were just missing a whole bunch of shots.
Yeah, they're missing a lot of threes, right? If I'm not mistaken.
They were just missing a lot of shots. After the second game, a guy I work with said that he heard a stat. I have no clue if this is true because why would I do any research? That the Heat made more contested shots in game 2 than they made open shots in game 1.
That's pretty crazy.
And then I caught none of the game last night, but it sounds like Denver just crushed them for 48 minutes.
Yeah, so I mean, I caught the third quarter, pretty much the whole third quarter and fourth quarter yesterday. And it was just one of those games where I think like when I turned it on, they were like Denver was up by like 6, and then they just continuously pulled away. Like it was Miami was just not able to stop Jokic or Jamal Murray for that matter. Both of them ended up finishing with triple doubles, and Jamal Murray ended up getting his triple double on literally the last shot of the game. He quickly like
someone said
it
was like a bullshit rebound.
It was pretty much like it barely like grazed the iron, and like anybody else, there was like 2 other Denver players, there. I couldn't tell you who they were because they cleared the bench except for Jamal Murray because they wanted him to get that triple double, but he just quickly scooped it up and got it. And you know what? Good for him. He deserved it.
Yeah.
Obviously had a great game. Overshadowed though by Jokic.
30, 20, 10.
Yeah, like I don't think you could play it any better though, like as Miami. You know what I mean? They were forcing him to make tough passes and forcing the role players to do what they're there to do, and that's hit open shots, hit open threes. I don't know how to say the guy's name because it looks like it's spelled like Braun, but I think his name is Christian Brown, and he couldn't hit an open shot to save his life, like from 3-point range, and he would just kept cutting. He had like almost 20 points, off the bench just on cuts to the basket.
And if their role players are playing that well in Miami, like usually you wait for your home games for your role players to play.
Yeah.
So if they're playing that well on the road,
it's crazy.
I that's why my prediction was Denver in 5. However, I did think the Heat were going to get game 1.
Yeah.
But
hey, you know what? It could have went either way though. It's one of those things like we had said in the previous episode. It's like, Denver well rested. Is that beneficial for them, or are they going to be out of sync?
I don't know.
And Miami being consistently playing, being rhythm better, but unfortunately, playing 7 games again, dealing with that fatigue and not having too much time to rest.
And then the elevation of Denver.
Yeah, that too.
I'm not sure we talked about that last episode.
I don't think we did, yeah.
I didn't think about that.
It's a good thing to point out, though, because obviously
But I wonder if that was a factor. Like, who knows? Who knows?
But fear was not a factor. Had to go there.
Not eating tarantulas.
But yeah, I don't even know what, because I didn't really see game 2 at all. But like, did Jimmy Butler go off? Like what? Because I don't know. They came from behind though.
Game 2.
I think.
Game 2, I think Jimmy Butler had 13 points or something like that. But Jokic had a great third quarter, and it was 85-78.
Okay.
Duncan Robinson is in the game. Kyle Lowry's in the game. Duncan Robinson hits a couple threes. He gets
big boost.
He gets fouled on a 2-point make.
Okay. Gets
the end one. Kyle Lowry hit a 3. And granted, this isn't Toronto Kyle Lowry, so, I think whatever you get from him, you take.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
So he hit a 3, and it was like, all of a sudden the Heat went from being down by 8 or 7 to up by 5.
Jeez.
And then the Heat were making baskets. Denver was trying to make shots, but they, it seemed like they were struggling. I shut the game off. I was like, this game's over. The Heat are going to win. And I thought they were going to win comfortably, and then I looked the next morning, they only won by 3.
Yeah.
But, it was not Jimmy Butler that won them that game. It was a collective effort from the other guys.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to have to do to beat Denver. Like,
I don't know.
Who's going to be the guy to step up? You know what I mean? I've seen Kyle Lowry hit a couple of threes and make some plays, and I know he's, like, older and coming off the bench, but, like, he does bring that veteran presence.
He's got the veteran presence, but I don't know. I don't know what they do. I mean...
Yeah, I feel like Caleb Martin kind of just, like, disappeared. Maybe not disappeared, but, he's definitely not having the same series he had in Boston.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like Jokic is that guy where it's like if he's on, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
You can just make it hard for him.
Yeah, you just got to force him to make tough
Make it
shots,
hard.
make tough
Yeah.
passes.
But he makes the tough shots, so
It's crazy.
that's why I said Denver in 5.
Yeah, and that.
So we'll see. I don't know. I think Game 4 is tomorrow.
Yeah, it should be because hockey is on tonight. Yeah, I think they made history, right? Like finals history, the first ever duo
teammates.
triple double. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Jokic is the first ever 30-20-10
Yeah.
triple double.
Yeah, they threw out some interesting, crazy stats. They were talking about like Wilt Chamberlain, and something about like having like 30 rebounds, like or like some stat like that, which is insane. And he had like 70 games of that or something.
Yeah,
like that.
I mean, guy's a monster, but played against like a significantly less talented league
Yeah, back then.
than most people.
So, I mean, it seems like that's a good transition, though, into what is on tonight, and that is hockey, the Stanley Cup Finals. Game 3.
Yes. Go ahead.
So, so Game 1 was very competitive, super close, like the whole time. And, Game 2, though, totally different story.
And didn't Vegas win still by a couple goals?
Yeah, it's because they got like empty.
They got an empty netter?
Yeah, and they
Okay. also
also had like Florida had one bad play after Bob let one in where they tried to like flip it out, and Matt Stone literally just like hit it out of the air and then just netted it like right away, right in the middle of the ice, like like right in the crease.
Matt Stone.
Yeah. And it was like, obviously Florida challenged it, and there was really no reason not to at that point because if you get a goal back, great. But it was not played with a high stick, so ultimately it just, led to further.
Yeah, I mean, I saw Game 2. What did they win, 7-2?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah. I didn't even see Florida score because I had turned the game off already, I think.
A score like that in a finals game to me is insane.
Yeah, like they figured something out. They came out skating
and
fast
they were in
and
Vegas,
playing aggressive.
Right?
Yeah, they were in Vegas.
So Game 3's in Florida.
Yeah, I mean, tonight's a must-win.
Tonight is a must-win.
You have to find a way to slow them down.
You have to win.
Yeah.
Have to win. If they go up 3-0 with 2 games left at home, they're not losing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just even in the Game 1, like how close it was, they still looked like they definitely had the upper hand as far as like the skating and the puck movement.
Yeah.
I know, I mentioned in the first episode, but I talked to one of my residents at work about, all these different sports, and he's predominantly a hockey guy. So he was saying how, Florida is just letting them shoot from the elbow. Like they're not pushing the wingers out at all and just letting them get those shots. Sounds like a.
I was staring at it thinking it was going to overflow and spill, and I was going to be like, I'm sorry, Corey.
It's all good.
But we got lucky there. Yeah, it's like I don't know. I'm a little baffled because the playoff hockey is usually like grinded out, close wins, and for a game like that to happen in the finals is unexpected.
Yeah.
Unexpected. I mean,
I'm worried this is gonna spray all over.
Oh yeah.
Should I try it? I like.
I just did it before. It's gonna foam up a lot.
No doubt.
That's a lot, even more than it foamed for me.
Yeah. It was I didn't like ease it in like you're supposed to like at all. Had to try it. Got to learn the technique.
Yeah, well, so much for a TikTok video.
Yeah, I don't really don't know. I'm curious like what the score would be tonight. If it's competitive, right? If it's a close game, is there going to be more than 6 goals combined?
Seems like it.
Think so?
Yeah,
like a 4-3 victory?
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope that it is competitive. I don't really want to see a blowout. I don't think anybody who's not invested, right? Like let's say,
Right.
obviously you want your team to crush, right? But like in our case, we're not rooting really for
As a
either.
neutral fan.
Yeah, as a neutral fan, somebody who just likes watching competitive sports, I want it to be competitive. I don't want it to be a blowout. I mean, if it is, then it is. But I want to see back and forth excitement until the buzzer.
Yeah. I agree. I definitely agree. I hope it's close, but I think it's still going to be high scoring.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing about the first two games that makes me think it won't be. But who knows? I mean, different game, different day, different stadium.
Yeah, maybe
Or
the atmosphere
arena.
will make the difference. Maybe the Florida crowd or something, or maybe Vegas will just be worse on the road than they have been in previous series.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who's to say? But I mean, Bob's just not having a good series.
Come on, Sergey.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate because he looked so good up until the
I know.
finals.
And don't be surprised, like if let's say he lets a couple in early in the first period, they'll pull him.
Yeah.
They'll pull him. I mean, you have to.
Yeah, you got to do something to
You
stop
have
the
to.
bleeding early
Yeah.
on because,
Yeah.
the longer you...
Because if you're down by 3, if you go down by 3, I mean, that's game over, probably.
Yeah.
Especially with how little Florida has scored.
Yeah, I was going to say, in most scenarios, that would be game over. Jeez. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see.
Game 2 is in about
Probably
an hour, right?
Yeah,
10
probably like an
minutes?
hour. Yeah, I was going to say it's probably
I
at
think
like
it's 8 o'clock.
Probably. 8:30 at the latest. East Coast time.
Yes. Yes. If you haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah.
We are on the East Coast. So, I was going to talk about the UFC pay-per-view coming up this weekend. I think it's UFC 289, but don't...
That wasn't the one that you were telling me about the other day that's like not in Canada?
Yes, that's this one.
Okay.
So, the thing is like, as for the main card, the fights, they're not bad fights, but considering that ESPN and UFC charge $80 for a pay-per-view.
That's a lot of guacamole right there.
Yeah, that's why people illegally stream, because this, I mean, I wouldn't pay. To me, there's one fight that I am extremely interested in, and that's Charles Oliveira and Beneil Dariush. Right? The headliner is Amanda Nunes and Irene Aldana. Amanda Nunes is probably like a minus 700 favorite. And that's at bantamweight, 135.
Okay.
And Irene Aldana has a history of missing weight at bantamweight. So imagine if the headliner, she misses weight.
Not great. That wouldn't be great, but
the winner of Charles Oliveira and Beneil Dariush, if Beneil wins, he probably gets a title shot. But it depends. I mean, Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje fight next month, and that's going to be a banger. And if Poirier finishes Gaethje again,
yeah,
he'll get the title shot first because he's the bigger name. But Beneil's on a sick run. I don't know how many fights in a row he's won. I think it's 5 or 6.
I was gonna say I'm so like out of the loop when it comes to UFC. I know Charles, right? Like I know him.
I mean, Charles has been around for what seems like forever.
Yeah, exactly. And
I think he got
I know
into UFC
Nunes.
at 21.
Yeah, I there's always at least like a handful of people, or at least, something like that I know, but I don't follow it regularly, so like I don't know who any of the champs are, right? Like who's like the champs of like
Heavyweight is John Jones.
Okay,
Right?
that I did know.
So he came back and submitted Cyril Gane in 2 minutes.
Right.
Because Cyril Gane had no ground game at all.
Okay.
Like John got him down and choked him out. Simple enough. So that's heavyweight. 205 is Jamal Hill.
I don't know if I know him.
No.
Probably not.
No, he honestly, ever since John Jones left, the 205 division. It's just the belt's been passed around.
Okay.
They need some new blood there.
Yeah.
I will say they need some new blood. Jamal Hill is the new blood, and when you look at the rest of the top 5,
Not great.
it's just a lot of people that everyone's familiar with. They've been around for a while,
Okay.
and it's like Johnny Walker, I believe, is in the top 5. Who else is in the top 5? Either way, whatever.
Johnny Walker.
185 is Israel Adesanya. He knocked out Alex Pereira the last time they fought.
I did.
That's
I've seen him fight a few
70
times.
is Leon Edwards. Head kicked Usman into oblivion 2 fights ago, and then they fought to a decision.
Okay. I think I saw that one too, actually.
Oh, everyone saw it, so
Yeah.
you saw it. 155 is Islam Makhachev.
That name doesn't sound familiar to me at all.
He's like Khabib's right hand man.
Okay.
Was trained by Khabib's father. Trained with him. That's 55. 45 is Alex Volkanovski. No one's going to beat him, though
I've heard that name.
He is fighting. I'm not going to remember. Yair Rodriguez.
Okay.
Yair.
That's another name that I've heard, but
He's very entertaining. And out of nowhere, well, maybe not. I mean, I don't really know a lot of Yair Rodriguez's fight, but Josh Emmett was fighting him and was stacking him, and he triangled him. And I know Yair Rodriguez is like crazy kicks. Korean Zombie, right?
Yeah, of course.
So Yair Rodriguez hit him with the elbow, right, at 4:59 of the 5th round. Like, that's Yair Rodriguez's like big known
I'm
moment.
so glad that the Koreans.
Yeah, I think it sounds like Max Holloway is trying to get like his last fight,
Nice.
Zombie's last fight.
I
35.
feel like that would be a fun one.
35 for UFC champion is Aljamain Sterling, the Funk Master, Long Island's own. Sorry, Brian. Our friend Brian works at a different gym. So, but still, Long Island's own. And who's 125? Brandon Moreno. So you probably know like what, 1 or 2 of those guys, and obviously John Jones, right?
Yeah, I know a couple of them. Some of the names sounds familiar for like I wouldn't be able to pick them out probably, except like the ones that I really know, like John Jones, because he's been around, forever. And back when I would watch regularly, he was basically the shit. He was like up and coming too, like at that point.
Yeah, honestly, this pay-per-view, the early prelims and the prelims, I'm more interested in than the main card.
Yeah,
because usually the people that you don't know are the ones that get like crazy finishes. The main cards where the fights really mean a lot, like those go to decision a lot. But we'll see. Who knows?
That's the tough thing about. Like you said before, like how much money the pay-per-views cost, because it's like you could get really lucky, right? And you get quality fights that last, or you could get fights that don't last very long at all, and and you paid all that money for a lot of filler.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it can be tough when like say there's 2 or 3 fights with quick finishes, and then you have to wait 25 minutes for your next fight.
And they're just talking about stuff, building it up, right?
Well, remember when we went, so we were at McGregor-Khabib.
Yep, that was a fun one.
Biggest fight in UFC history, I think. I don't think anything's topped it since. Fun, dangerous.
Yeah.
And,
there were so many mixed emotions that night in general.
Yeah, and we saw a decent amount of finishes that night.
Oh yeah.
And when you're in the crowd, it's like, all right, well, we're just gonna sit here and bullshit for however long until the next fight starts.
Yeah. That was Derek Lewis.
My balls is hot.
Yeah. And he came back and won that fight, I think, if I'm not
yeah.
mistaken. He
knocked out Alexander Volkov with like 20 seconds left.
Yeah.
He was about to lose 30-27, lose all 3 rounds, but threw a fucking overhand right from, probably
That
his
place
foot
erupted.
and just put him out with, I think, 30 seconds left, maybe even less. I don't
Yeah.
remember.
It was very dramatic, and that's why the place went absolutely, ape shit.
But being there, especially not being into the UFC that much at the time, one, we showed up very early.
Yeah, very
right?
early. Way too early, to be honest.
Because we were going to see someone fight who was on the early prelims. And once you go into the venue, you can't leave.
Yeah.
So we were there for 7 hours. And
That was tough.
it's a long day. It's a long day. That's why I like staying at home. Plus, tickets to a UFC event here, you're looking at $400 or $500 for nosebleeds. So, not even worth
It's
it.
crazy. It's a crazy amount.
But yeah, definitely. I'm gonna probably place a couple bets this weekend. I'm actually interested in seeing who's favorite, Oliveira or Dariush. Oh, no, that's not. I don't want my thermostats.
It's not going to help you. You're going to base it all on temperature.
Yeah.
Ooh, it says hot.
68 degrees, which is
Well-
the temperature that I keep my house at in the winter. My wife does not like that.
I like it cool.
Yes, I want to be cold. All right. Hold on. Bear with me, people. I'm sorry.
Do, 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 do.
Do. Jesus Christ.
How's the UFC game?
It sucks.
Flat out, he's just like terrible.
I have a lot of issues with it. But Neil Dariush is favored. Interesting. Honestly, Charles Oliveira at plus 125 might be worth the bet. So, since you brought it up, I play UFC 4 a lot. I play it because I like playing fighting games like that.
Okay.
And that's the only option. Why does that game suck? There are when you're in certain positions on the ground, there's no such thing as an elbow, right?
Yeah, you have to like
You have to
chain
be
wrestle your way out of it.
in specific areas. So like you have to be in like side control to be able to throw an elbow. Can't throw an elbow from full guard.
Yeah, I mean,
Right? When you top or bottom. There's no game modes. It's literally career, exhibition, online. They could have had like a mode where you have a small promotion and the goal is to eventually get bought by the UFC
okay, like
or like you're Dana White and you got to put together good pay-per-views and
it's like a
you
GM.
got to do marketing and monitor ticket sales and all that stuff. Like they could have done so many different modes.
It's EA though. They're never gonna.
I
gonna do that.
despise EA so much. The games they make are terrible. Their flagship game is Madden, and every year it sucks. And what I don't get is you go to. I mean,
I haven't played it in.
Is
many
IGN
years.
even a thing anymore?
Yeah,
Is it?
IGN's
okay.
still around.
So if you go to IGN, all the people that work for companies that rate the game somehow always rate it like 9.5. And I play the game and it's like, really? My guy just rolled 10 yards, was able to get up and keep running because the game didn't register that he's down. The current Madden I'm playing, I don't remember which one it is.
And that's like another thing, right?
I think it's like Madden 20.
There's
that I'm
really not
playing.
a lot of varied sports games, right? Like, so it's like you either buy EA's game because they have the monopoly on sports,
Right.
Just about.
It's the same thing as 2K with basketball.
Yeah, that's like the only thing they don't have, right? I mean, 2K I guess has kind of expanded over the course of time, but it's like basketball is probably their flagship thing, I would think.
And there's honestly
sports,
the last 2K I played, not great.
Which one did you play? Well,
Oh, it's a few years ago. I think. Oh no, it was 20 because I bought it during COVID.
I think I have 20.
Because, like, I'd get home from work
It was all right.
and there was nothing to do because we were shut down.
Yeah, it takes some getting used to. Because, like, I always feel like the controls are so elaborate for 2K games.
For me, what I don't like is when you press the shoot button, it takes the guy like a couple seconds to start shooting because of his shooting motion.
And then if you don't
Whereas like
release
NBA Live 04, you hit the shoot button, that guy was in the air.
immediately. Yeah, I used to play live a lot, but I mean that's not really an option anymore.
Right. And you know what else sucks about Madden is that you pass the ball and the defensive back is more aggressive in going towards the ball than your wide receiver is. The defensive back will jump in the air and intercept it while your wide receiver is glitched and just keeps running. Right? So then 21 players will be running this way, and you'll have number 88 just running towards the corner.
He's running his pattern to its full.
Yeah. And when they get glitched like that, they just run. They go. He'll run out of bounds. He runs along the wall like this and just moves in that direction while facing the wall like that.
That's awful.
And that is their flagship game. Madden 05 was a great Madden.
That was probably like...
Shout out Ricky, because I know you still play it.
Yeah, I think like back then I was buying Madden like religiously. I think like I want to say 7 was the last time I was really into Madden.
Yeah, but the new games are bad. Usually what happens is something will go on sale and it'll be like $10 and I'll buy it.
You're like, yeah, okay.
And then I still get mad because I play and I'm like, this game's
I feel
terrible.
you on that. So going back to the UFC though, like I only ever played the first ever one. So I have a very vague grasp of like what the gameplay mechanics were like. And knowing EA, I feel like maybe they improved to the second one, but like after that it's probably been the same thing, just redone.
It's really slow.
Updated roster,
so
right? Like, that's what you pay for.
Right. It's very slow. The another thing is like when you're like clinching or let's say like you said chain wrestling, once you start a motion, you have to get to the next spot, whatever that is, whether you're trying to, like, go from full guard to half guard, whether the guy blocks you or he doesn't block you. Before anything else can happen, you either have to land in half guard or get blocked and stay in full guard.
Yeah.
Like, you can't punch while you're moving ground positions.
Yeah, it's
you
either
can't
you punch or you try to advance,
one
right?
or the other. And another thing, submissions. So if it's a joint submission, there's a bar along the bottom, and you basically right bumper, left bumper, try to get a submission. Keep the other person's bar inside your bar.
Yeah.
Or if it's a choke, it's a big circle, and you do the same thing. But it's like there's no such thing as a fast submission in that game.
Yeah.
Like,
you really had to like wear out your opponent in the first one too.
Like in real fights, like there are so many times someone locks in a submission so quickly just because it was there. Whereas UFC, like you can be belligerently beating the shit out of somebody, yet somehow if you go to do a submission, you still got to work on it for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, they should readjust. I mean, I get that it's probably really difficult to be able to, flow so freely because it's like,
I get it, but if there weren't so many other areas of laziness in that game, I could give them a pass. But there's so many other parts of that game where you can tell they had a work meeting and they were like, listen, just make it playable and get it out there so we could charge $60 for it. The game's not good. I play it because I like to fight. I like to play the fighting games. I don't like to fight.
Yeah.
Certainly not.
I got what you meant.
But I like to play the fighting games. And when they add new fighters, I like to play with the new fighters. Doesn't mean the game's good.
Yeah.
You know?
Just means you wish you wish you had something more.
Right. Give me an owner mode. The 2 modes that I mentioned before are simple. Like, you could do those. And trust me, with the way EA makes games, if they made those modes, they would be very simple.
Yeah, when you were saying your ideas for the other game modes, it made me think of Raw vs. SmackDown. Like, how fun was that when you had to literally
GM
go
mode.
up against like the other brand?
There's one PlayStation 2 game sitting on top of my unplugged PlayStation 2. It's Raw vs. SmackDown 2006.
Nice. It's a classic. Honestly, they were all really fun, but that that was the first time, I think, right, that they did that in any wrestling game, and they haven't done it since. It's something that I feel like people really enjoyed, but I guess maybe not enough people enjoyed it for them to be like, well,
I'm pretty sure they just brought it back in their last game.
Did they?
Either, maybe not this one, but 22, right? Because didn't 23 just come out?
I believe
or
so.
Or is it about to?
I believe it came out. I'm pretty sure.
But
I think it's on sale already, actually.
Yeah. So, okay, so it's out. But I think then in 22 they had GM mode.
That's pretty cool.
Probably, like you said, one of the best modes. Sorry for that rant about EA. I fucking hate EA, and they make shit games.
That's all right. When we really dive down into the gaming rabbit hole, we could talk about EA. We'll put Koki on the podcast for that one.
Yeah.
He'll just shit all over them for an hour straight.
They make shit games. They don't make good games.
And they just, I think they just had Summer Game Fest, which is like a smaller version of E3, basically, where they announced actually a like a first-person game. It's not a sports game. It's like a first-person like magical like shooting game. I don't really know how to describe it because I haven't really seen too much on it, but they apparently had like a big thing on it today, which I have to watch still. But I'm just like, oh my god, EA is making like something that's not, a sequel to something or a sports game. You know
something
what I mean?
new. We'll see. We'll see. I have extremely low expectations.
Yeah, I don't really expect too much either. Disappointment. That's what I expect.
Yeah.
Pretty sure most of you out there probably feel the same way, but feel free to let us know in the comments if you feel the same way. I'd love to hear that, or really just anything that you have to say on any of these topics that we've discussed today.
Yeah. We have an Instagram. It is the name of the podcast. Brews, not beers, Brews.
Brews.
And the basement. His basement. Did you have anything else?
I mean, I think that's pretty much all I got for now. I try to keep it, short and sweet. I feel like we're coming up on an hour. So
yeah, I think that's a good stopping point. Thank you for listening. We'll link Can we link the Instagram and the YouTube?
Yeah, everything will be in the description. We'll put all that stuff there for you.
We'll link the Instagram. Please give it a follow. And thank you for listening.
Yeah, drop some likes, comment, and subscribe.
Please do. Please do. And I believe that's it.
That's all we got.
Cheers. And have a good night.
See you in the next one. Damn, that's good.